You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. It seems like all of us, from one time to the next, are trying to change something about our health or our life that we don't like or that we want to improve or overcome. And a big key to that is being able to change our habits. Our daily habits dictate the quality of life, quality of our health, as well as the quality of our business. And if you don't feel good, you're not going to do good work. So it's very important that you get the right habits in place. And if you need help changing your existing habits into new habits for health or for life, today's guest is really going to be able to help you dial that in for yourself. I'm speaking with Jessica Derksen. She is a certified health and life coach, and she's a huge believer that when you change a habit, you can change a life. Jessica works with her clients by empowering them to make decisions that align with their goals and focus on what they get to have in their life instead of what they don't get to have. Very important perspective. Jessica, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show. You know, we're getting towards that time of the year where people are beginning to think about their lifestyle, their habits, their resolutions, and maybe they're starting to think about making some changes. So this is really it's good any time of the year, but especially this time of the year when we begin to stop and think about the direction that our lives are going in. You believe that by changing our habits, we can change our lives, and I agree. How did you get started on this path of helping people with their health and with their life? What's your story?
So my story really goes back to when I was about 21 years old. I had just finished university, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I was really lost, confused. I was going through a really rough time. And I had went to see my doctor, and he wanted to write me a prescription for antidepressants. And I was really worried about it because I didn't feel depressed. I knew I wasn't depressed, but I just didn't feel like my usual self. So before leaving his office, he said, just try moving your body for the next 30 days. Don't fill this prescription. Just try working out, however that looks. Yoga, walking, going to the gym. Move your body every day for the next 30 days. So, I kind of thought this man must be crazy, but I did it. And I really, really started to feel good. And it became a habit. So working out became a habit. And I realized that the better that I was feeling about myself, the better decisions that I was making. So I started making, better decisions in my life, including who I was letting into my life, the activities that I would choose to do. And I thought, if I could change this about myself, what other habits can I change? And so I started to look at my life and, changing my habits one at a time. And, it's a long process. It doesn't happen overnight. But so I started changing my habits. And then fast forward a few years later, I found myself, I was working in a job that I was not happy in. And I found I was going back into old habits, old patterns. And I thought, no, there has to be more to life than this. And so I actually read a book called The Passion Test, and it really broke everything down for me. And it brought me to this idea of I want to be a coach. And specifically at the time, I wanted to be a health coach. I had no idea if that was a real thing. So I did some research, and it was. And I did my education, and I got certified as a health coach. And then I got certified as a life coach because I really realized that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so people need help in all areas of their life, not just one at a time, right? So the health coaching has evolved into life coaching.
I love that. And I love how you take a principle and then you apply it to a lot of different areas. And that's kind of the same thing I do as a strategist. I look and see what's working in one area of life and business. We can apply it in a different area of life and business and get similar results. So let's see if we can take some of these universal principles and apply them in different ways to create the results that we want. So that's really exciting that you were able to connect the dots and create the life that you want. And now you're helping people to do the same thing. Your website is truetoyouhealthcoaching.com. Tell us a little bit more about how you work with clients and who is an ideal prospect for you. Who are the types of people that you usually work with?
So I usually work mostly with women, and I work a lot of the time with women who their beliefs are what has taken them to where they are right now. So, they don't believe that they're good enough. They don't believe they have the body that they want. They're not worthy enough to live a life of fulfillment. It's their limiting beliefs that they don't believe in themselves. So a lot of the time I work with these women in particular who they really just they're not loving themselves. They don't love their bodies. They don't love their spirit, their souls. And when I say bodies, I mean inside and out, not just their physical appearance. So many of my clients think that, they have to put everyone else's needs ahead of theirs. And that's really what's draining them.
I think that's a common problem with women in particular. And just from what I know about my wife and about my daughters and other powerful female influences in my life, they seem to put everybody else first and put themselves last. And that's a recipe for burnout, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So when you're working with people, I always like to ask, what's the biggest challenge that you help people overcome? Because once again, if we can see a common problem or a common obstacle that everyone seems to face, it helps to kind of reverse engineer that process and work out a solution that is going to help a lot of people overcome. So in working with people, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you have to help them overcome to get on this road of health?
The biggest challenge that I see all the time is definitely people's limiting beliefs. So what they've been told their whole lives. So what they believe about themselves. For example, I have a wonderful client who had tried to lose weight for years. She tried all of the fad diets, right? Like nothing worked. And when she would lose weight, she'd gain it all back and some and in a short amount of time. So that's a lot of stress on the body going up and down in her weight. And when we started working together, she really didn't love herself. She didn't love her body. She wasn't happy in her life. She didn't feel worthy of losing the weight. She really felt like a failure. And we worked around a lot of her beliefs. And these beliefs really stemmed from childhood. She was constantly told that she was fat when she was younger by people really close to her. She wasn't good enough, strong enough, smart enough. So we had to start there with those beliefs of herself. And years ago, when I started my training in health coaching, a man said something to me that has stuck with me ever since. And it's so powerful. He said, people always say I'm fat. I mean, like we hear it all the time, right? Someone always says, I'm fat, but you're not fat. You have fat. Just like you have fingernails, you have toenails, but no one ever says I'm fingernails or I'm toenails, right?
Yeah.
And like the two statements, I am fat versus I have fat, are so powerful because they're completely different statements. And so I worked with this client around this idea of she has fat. She is not fat. Fat doesn't define who she is as a person. And so we started there and we really worked on the whole self-love and all of the things in her life that she has rather than the stuff she had been depriving herself of. And we set proper boundaries, like came from a place of where she was in control of her decisions and her thoughts. And it was no longer about the stories that she was told from her past. And once she got that mindset piece, which obviously takes time, she started to love her body. And the weight really, like cliche as it sounds, the weight started to melt off. But when it did, she realized that it wasn't even about the weight anymore. It was about loving herself, loving her body, taking care of herself, her mind, her body, her soul. And the more that she loved herself, the better decisions she made, the better food choices she made. She would move her body more. She set boundaries so that what people thought about her didn't affect her anymore. And she wouldn't get into the spiral, into an emotional eating episode. People who love themselves and love the life that they're living, a number on the scale doesn't matter anymore, right? They start to take care of themselves from this place of love and respect. And that's what being healthy is.
I love that.
So, it's treating your body with that love, treating your body with respect, listening to your body. Like, I'm such a believer that when you love yourself and you make decisions that are in alignment with that love, you take care of yourself better.
Exactly.
And when you get really crystal clear on the life you want to live, then you can start to make those decisions in alignment with that life.
That's a lot better than just trying to fad diet your way to losing 20 pounds. It's really a lot more than just the actual poundage that we're talking about. We're talking about how you value yourself.
Absolutely. Loving it starts with your mindset and loving yourself. And then from there, you can learn how to change your habits.
I love that. So, limiting beliefs is the biggest challenge. And I think most people would resonate with that. And I was thinking, you said that it doesn't happen overnight. How long working with that particular person, how long did it take for you to help them to overcome those limiting beliefs and begin to see some results?
Well, so she was registered for, I do 90-day sessions, so 3 months. And it was probably that very end of her first 3-month session that she truly started to look in the mirror and love the person that she was. And everyone's different. I mean, it depends on the story. You've been told for so long, and we're continually working together. But it's a process, and depending on what you think about yourself, because everyone's at a different stage. So what could take someone 3 months could take someone 3 weeks. What could take someone 3 weeks could take someone a year.
Yeah, that's really encouraging, though, that you can help someone overcome these childhood limiting beliefs in as little as 3 months. I mean, that's pretty amazing considering years and years and years of having the wrong beliefs and the wrong habits. So it's the behavior follows the beliefs. And if we change the belief, we can change the behavior. Is that the way it works?
Absolutely.
So what can someone listening to this right now, and maybe they've been on the fads, and I mentioned the New Year's, where people are going to make resolutions along the lines of, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to get in shape. So it's kind of vague to begin with, but they're mostly thinking about the result, and they're not thinking about really creating a new belief in who they are and how they see themselves. But what can someone listening right now begin to do that would really help them overcome some of these limiting beliefs and maybe do something different this time around and something that will actually work for them?
Well, first, don't do New Year's resolutions, but I don't believe in them. But no, honestly, the first thing that I think people need to do is get so crystal clear on what it is that they want. What are their desires? What is the vision that they have for their life? So without worrying about how they're going to get there, what is the type of person that they want to be? How does that look? Their perfect weight or their perfect life, what perfect relationship, however that looks, they have to get so clear, write it down and write it as if you're living it. So what does it smell like, feel like? Who are you surrounded with? So the first thing to do is know exactly what you want. Because if you don't know, you're never going to get there. Right. And then second thing to do is to really understand your why. Because like New Year's resolutions are such a high level why. So why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Well, I want to look good in my bikini. That is not a true why. You need to understand the impact of what will happen if you don't change, right? So your why needs to be strong. It needs to be meaningful, because if it's not, you're not going to have follow through.
Right.
So you want to dig in, understand that why. And so many times I work with women who, they want to look good in that bikini. And after we go through all these questions, it's really, no, they want to connect with their spouse again.
Right.
They want to feel that spark they felt when they first started dating. So it's more meaningful, more impactful. So you want your why to really fuel the fire to make the changes. And then the third thing I'd say is try not to change too much at one time, right? So there's that saying, small hinges swing big doors. The more change that someone needs, the less they can handle. But So you want to start with that vision. If you have too much that you want to change in your life, like I want a perfect relationship, I want to lose 20 pounds, I want, you're just going to say, okay, none of this is feasible. I'm just going to quit and shut down, and that's it.
Yeah. You get overwhelmed with too much too soon, and then you quit everything all at once.
Yeah. So have your vision and then break it down into smaller goals, right? So pick one habit at a time, like I did, to work on. And I read this really good book once, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
Yeah, that's a great book.
It's such a good book, right? He talks about the cue, the routine, and the reward. And what I learned early on, and another thing that he talks about in the book, is that you can't get rid of a habit. You can only replace it. So you have to get clear on what that cue is so that you can change the routine. So for me, my cue was, feeling blah, unhappy, stressed out. And my routine used to be shut down and watch TV, where I changed that routine, go to the gym, work out. And then the reward was much better. I was feeling good. I was feeling positive.
Yeah. I like that. There's another book by James Clear called Atomic Habits.
Okay.
And that's a really good one as well. And the idea of atomic habits is that it's the really small things, the things that you think are so insignificant, but by making those small changes, it creates a ripple effect. And he also talks a lot about routines, putting a set of behaviors together so that one triggers the next action. So it triggers the next. So it triggers the next. And so this is some really powerful stuff. It can be a little bit overwhelming and challenging for people, like you said, Jessica, who feel like they've got so much that is not right, so much that they want to change and they just don't know where to start. How would working with someone like you really simplify this process and improve their chances for success?
I really believe in the power of working with a coach. I work with a coach myself. I think that, coaches are there to help people know what they want and be able to figure out the path. So they're not kind of looking at 5 different things at one time. And we're there to hold our clients to their highest standards. So yes, we're here to support our clients, but more importantly, we're there to push them and stretch them and really hold them accountable. People don't like to disappoint other people. I think it's just human nature. We always want, someone to think we're doing great. So if you have someone holding you accountable, you're going to be a lot more effective in achieving your goals than if you try and hold yourself accountable. And I do this in my own life. Like I love having a coach. I need it. I need someone to push me and stretch me and help me grow my life, my relationships, my business. So there's so many different types of coaches out there. And I think it's so important to help achieve goals. If you are clear and you're ready to take your life to the next level and live the life you should be living, I truly think coaches can really help push you to that point.
I agree. And I know in my experience with the clients that I work with, it's really amazing to me that when I give them homework, most of the homework, if not all of the homework, gets completed the day before our next phone call. Why is that? Why is that? Because of the accountability factor. They don't want to get on the call with me and be able to say, well, sorry, Ralph, I didn't do the homework. Right.
Yeah.
So it really serves to illustrate the importance of having that accountability, having someone who is especially trained to be able to help you create the right, the right goals, or at least give you feedback on what your goals, the goals that you are selecting for yourself. Not to direct you in the goal process, but to help you clarify, like the bikini thing. Is that really going to sustain you when you're tempted to fall off of your routine? Or is there a higher goal that we can hold each other or hold you accountable to, and you can hold yourself accountable so that you're setting yourself up for success? It's really important to have that accountability and have that outsider's perspective so that your coach can see things that you can't see about yourself. And that could be a very powerful difference in success and failure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the power of questions that people ask you can really help you think. And even for myself, as a coach, I ask tons of questions to my clients to help them think, look at a new perspective, help them grow. And yet my coach, I never ask myself those questions, right? So I have a coach who asks me this and I'm like, oh, I do this with my clients, but why do I not do it for myself all the time, right? So it's so important to just have that person see exactly what you said, a new perspective, and help you kind of get more of a direction. So you're not kind of all over the place to try and achieve your goal. You're more directed to it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was talking with a lady who runs a beauty salon, and she said, we made the observation that you go, even if you own the beauty salon or you know how to style hair, you go somewhere else for someone else to style your hair. You don't try to style your own hair. You can't give yourself a haircut, or you can. It might not turn out all that great, and certainly not the way you want. So even when you know what to do and you do it for other people, it's still beneficial to have experts and coaches and others to hold you accountable, even in the very things that you do for others. It's so critically important. Jessica, what are you working on right now that's got you really excited that maybe you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm working on 2 programs right now. So the first one, they're both rolling out January 2020. And the first one is, I'm calling it the first 100 days of 2020. And it is a free program. And as I said earlier, I do not believe in New Year's resolutions. So I'm creating this group to really help people change their habits. So stop making New Year's resolutions and make a lifestyle change. And it's a group, so we can all hold each other accountable. And, it says it takes 21 days to create a habit. So imagine the power of 100 days working together, holding each other accountable. And every week's going to have a different focus. But so that's the first thing that I'm working on.
Exciting.
And then the second one, I'm excited. I just love bringing people together and holding each other accountable and accomplishing our goals together. It's exciting. And of course, there's always going to be a bad day or a setback or something that happens. And when you are trying to achieve a goal on your own and you have a setback, it's so much easier to just give up and fail. But if you are in a group and you have a setback or something happens and you didn't follow through one day, you have an entire group there to hold you up and push you forward and say, it's okay, get back on it. Yeah. You're not quitting now. So I love the idea of the group. And then my second thing is a new introductory group coaching program. So I have one coming up for a group health program and then a group life coaching program, which will really focus on transformation in all different areas of your life.
Very, very exciting. Well, I can't think of a better way to really transform your life and really build into your daily existence these routines, these habits that are going to help you align your behavior and your beliefs so that you create the results that you want and really set yourself up for success with accountability, with the group support, and with the other things that you're offering, Jessica. I think this is fantastic. Well, as I say, this is amazing. Any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
My final thoughts would really just be courageous, right? So I read this quote once, living a life you love takes courage. So be courageous. Don't worry about what other people think of you. It's not your business. Just get out there, make life happen. Don't wait for it to happen. Go make it happen and be brave. Excellent. Excellent. And you don't have to wait until January the 1st to make this decision. Start now. Start right now and make the changes that you want to make. So, Jessica Derksen, thank you so much. Jessica is a certified health and life coach, and she's a big believer that when you change a habit, you can change a life. She works with her clients to empower them to make decisions that align with their goals and focus on what they get to have in their life instead of what they don't get to have. If you want to find out more, check her out at truetoyouhealthcoaching.com. We'll have that link on the Rebelpreneur website as well so that you can go and see everything that Jessica has to offer. Jessica Derksen, thank you so much for being on Rebelpreneur Radio today. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Ralph, for having me. It was great.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.